ESL presents ESL Challenger League in partnership with Intel, Acer Predator, DHL,
Ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to ESL Challenger League. Just 8 days after closing the broadcast over on Cup number 2. My name is Get the Bag Mark, and I am back with Apples, who we're kicking it off in the lower bracket Apples. I know it's technically not the start of the tournament, but it's the start of the broadcast. We've only been here for a couple of days, and I mean, we're starting off hot. We're starting off with LAG Boss. Not a better place to be.
Honestly, this is probably my favorite part of the bracket, even though we're like still back towards the back. We'll see it a little bit later, but this is like one of my favorite parts because we can see how have we gotten here. It's a little bit of an angry match. You're like, I don't want to get out here this early. I want to keep showing that I know what I'm doing. I keep making sure that you're getting those strides in, but this is going to be a good one tonight, Marky. Let's take a look at this prize pool. Again, this is Cup number 3. First place, if you're able to make it to the end, and these teams, they got to make it out of this lower bracket, that's a first place prize of $8,000. And I mean, that's a lot of money that you could put into going to LAN, maybe in EU.
Yeah, you can be like me, go to LAN, just, spend that 1 to 2K just to get grouped. But you can also be like Lag and run it up all the way to the third place decider, of Frag York. I'll get in more into that in a moment. But yeah, we're obviously coming off of Cup number 2, where we gave $8,000 over to Chicken Coop. Congratulations to them. They joined over with M80 in our final 2 slots. And when people were checking in to Cup number 3, Apples, just based off of ranking and VRS, you know what the grand final was supposed to be? This matchup right here, right? And I think due to all the crazy circumstances of the online competition, we're going to be able to talk about this all day. I'm pretty sure tomorrow is the major cutoff. Like, this is crazy. Just last night, LAG were playing for a PGL Astana spot. They have just been all over the place. And I don't know, I feel like that's a pretty good transition point, right? To talk about where, unfortunately, they had to forfeit last night to play in that PGL playthrough to forfeit versus In Control in the upper side of the bracket, where I believe Boss had another, something going on with their brackets in the upper brackets. They had a schedule issue against Straight to Killin', Ocean's team. I think it's just SKDC under a different name, which is interesting. But yeah, they had to go down here, play through FlyQuest Red, our favorites, Sophie. So unfortunately, they had to take them down and then, bring their best to Boss here, to LAG, who obviously, like I said, come off of that In Control forfeit win because they put it all on trying to go to a Tier 1 event. They had such a late night. It was crazy. They played till I think literally 1 in the morning Central Time. I know both of those teams are stationed in Eastern. It must have been insane, but obviously Fisher College took that spot away from Lag. We'll get into more of the dramatics of that later. God, what a series.
That, I love that. And I love that we have best of 5s back in CS. I know, I don't know if it started with, I think it was Blast that said that they were going to start doing that when they announced the Blast Bounty, Blast Rivals, whatever. That's not this. We're over at ESL Challenger, but I really am interested to just see who is able to make it to the end, because so far we've had 2 different winners. You said M80, we had Chicken Coop, and now we were kind of expecting it to be one of these 2 teams, but Marky, they really haven't been in the best of spots that we really wanted them to. I think we wanted Lag to make it to that end, make it to the end final of Cup number 2, but then had a forfeit loss map against Sportsbet Expert, so they didn't play. Yeah, another LAN issue.
Yeah, they were. So I know the
sometimes.
specifics of that while talking to the beautiful people where everybody was at Syracuse for Frag York, and they were playing at the University of Frag York Center. And unfortunately, the university had to close at a strict time, and that's what happened. They had to forfeit back in that second cup. So it's got to happen. I don't know. It is what it is, but they rolled through it, and I'm sure Chicken Coop were happy for those little circumstances, right? Because honestly, I'm sure LAG would have been favored to take that after, a dramatic weekend. They were rolling into it. They were going to Frag York and dealing with all of that in the process where, Chicken Coop were at home. They were, happy to take that and obviously win our cup number 2. But it was an LAG that disappointed, in my opinion, on LAN, and I think they were kind of the team to disappoint. It was what it was. I'm really excited about this cryptic move, but I have my questions, and I have my conversations about this boss roster as well. Newest pickups, Wumbo and Merkiu, who just obviously debuted on LAN. We're looking real good. Obviously, no Stanislaw with us tonight. Bro is still chilling in Europe with Vince, playing for Metasport. I think on an official trial, Sophie, I know nothing's been said, but I know the organization has had his eyes on him, according to reporting, and I mean, he's playing at his 3rd event. He just got eliminated from a CCT at 1-3, losing to Tier 3 European teams, which is really something that you don't want to see, but no stand tonight. Ben Leet's still playing.
Well, yes, but you just said that Merrico just played really well on LAN. However, I don't know if it was as much as you were expecting.
Yeah.
We were talking about it a little bit earlier. It wasn't as bright and flashy as we could have expected, but I think it was only their 2nd LAN with Boss. The first one being the Flom LAN, but comparative to Cameron, what would you take this year with their LAN results?
So it was a rough weekend on all ends. I would say Boss finishing 3rd is about right where I wanted them to finish, and it was more of not the results that I wanted to see. It was more of the output from Merkiu that I wanted to get much better, and Cameron. So where I'm talking about LAG being the team that unfortunately could have been upset at Frag, I think it was a question of their firepower. And you have a player like Sandman finally taking the turn and doing really well. There are moments where Cryptic can really stand up for this roster, even DJ, and obviously constantly playing at career levels. For Cameron, a guy that literally goes to the University of Syracuse and was playing in a hometown court at Frag York, he had a 0.9 rating in 10 maps, and frankly disappointed in the big ones that I think really mattered. So I don't know what's got to happen with this LAG roster. Frankly, I think that there's got to be roster changes if they can't figure out what's going on with the firepower of this team. I don't go and look to, maybe the Cryptics or the DJs that, you may look to, and the conversation would be, why does this team have 2 IGLs? I would say, why are the players that are supposed to succeed not succeeding? And we got to see Cameron take a big step today, whereas I know Merkiu can do it online, and I just got to see him pull back up like it's nothing tonight and prove it.
And I feel like you really can't even use the excuse that LANs are few and far in between, because there are so many lower tier NACS LANs that are just happening now because Fragadelphia is just going crazy bonkers with it. So you have the time and the space to get experience with your team and with your players. So you're not taking that jump when you need. Maybe that's just what Merkiu needed. He needed that time, and now he's like, all right, I'm good. We'll have to see. Tonight, we'll have to see if they're able to do it, him and Cameron.
To this Dust 2, and do a pick by Boss right away that I'm excited to see. And newest man on the block, the 19-year-old, is going to be taking down DJ. Wumbo, welcome to the server. He was pretty good at Frag from my notion at his very first LAN from his very first team in just 2 months. Onto the A site, another nice kill, but Sandman right on the edge. I think he's going to wait for the rest of LAG to get here.
Yeah, I think it's just a little bit afraid of that doors lurk potentially, but I actually have a lurk over in top mid, and Cameron is going to be trying to look at this. The clock is starting to tick. 3 CTs. Wumbo, a nice position to just kind of hide, let Merkiu take the action with a little bit more health. Finds the first, and CT's not really getting as close as you could want. Nice shot there from Sandman. Ben does go down.
Okay.
They get at least one more. They don't have a kit in play. Just want to see if they can get a couple. You know what? Save your Kevlar. You need it next round anyways.
Awkward there. I know that DJ goes down, but like, I mean, Cameron is just held in middle by these fights for like a solid 40 seconds. So much so that like Slight gets to run all the way back through B. Boss cashed their ticket at the beginning of their pistol round on their very own map pick. This is interesting for a couple of reasons, but where, you know, LAG go back buying in, this is going to be great. You know, pretty typical for this thing to potentially land somewhere else than it does too, we'll be honest, but, you know, where Boss rolled it out right here, it's not normally one that's going to be, I think, ripping and roaring at the beginning of Series 2 typically, but, I mean, they fried LAG on this map, 13-4, back on frag. They have a lot of good results here, so I'm a fan. I'm a fan of this gamble, so to speak. Force buy back up for LAG, and Cryptic, a great 1D. Oh my goodness.
Lots of damage already done to the T's. Consti, a nice headshot with the scout. Always nice to see those. And Leo picked up here from Cryptic could be dangerous, but they're going to disrespect this smoke and try and fight through it. Mirq not finding much. Molly going to take him off the angle, but this is like a little bit of an awkward fight. The trades kind of go equal. Slight takes one. Not much you can do here. Does have an AK though. Got to fight. 32 health left. Well, CT's trying to see if they can spot maybe something.
Goodness gracious. I don't know, maybe Cryptic the guy to watch out for tonight anyhow. How? Sheesh.
Anyhow, do your vocal warm-ups, man.
Slips through.
Too busy.
Yeah,
eating
not
your
quite.
steak.
Wasn't 100% effective. That's
You both ate
the
steak for dinner.
99.9 that Smooya was asking about on Twitter with some of the simulations. Bro didn't know about 0.01 doubts. That Vitality could just sit out the major if they chose to. Spare the rest of the scene.
You know what? Today,
He's like,
we
why?
don't feel like doing
What would
it.
cause this? Does that offend you as a Vitality fan? Pseudo Vitality fan?
Pseudo? Whoa. What makes you think it's not that I'm not a full heart, like beating Vitality fan?
Well, one day you're gonna cast Vitality, and then they're gonna come back to this and go, we have a biased caster in the building.
Here's the thing, guys.
We all love Apex. It's okay.
Wore my Vitality shirt to the Dallas 2024 finals versus G2 Stu.
Yeah, you are getting some grief for that.
My skin is as thick as you can get. Nothing's breaking through.
That's such a niche NACS memory that so many people are gonna relate to watching this.
Or so many people are going to be like, what is she talking about?
What a time to be alive. But that's what I mean. I don't care about those people. Those that know. Those that were there. Oh, what a time. Hope to see you all in Atlanta. Soon enough. I'm trying to go
there. I'm going to Frag Vegas. I don't know if I'm going to be able to make Atlanta happen. I'm going to Frag Vegas.
Plenty of NACS to take place. Still in the server. Even had Voca NRG today. I believe at PGL Bucharest. I could be misspeaking on that, but
yes,
really cool to have that take place the way it did. Buy back up for Boss. They're also back on this line, and Wumbo getting sent back from mid doors. Lucky to be alive, I think.
Quickly take a little bit of action, some space. In safely behind that smoke. A nice smoke for DJ, but he's not going to be able to do anything for it. I hear AK is going to do a bit, but Sandman is locking it down just like you predicted it here.
Yes.
Nice 3K from him.
That's great. I know it's just some of the Deagles swinging. They're armored, though. And that's Sandman. I mean, he had a couple of good shots on the pistol, so he's being pretty polite already. But not to Boss, bringing him back to the pistols, and now we can yap for a full 2 minutes and talk over the Glocks, because surely they're not going to do anything.
The first collegiate team has qualified for Tier 1 LAN.
Wow, you got to say that in front of lag,
You didn't see all the 1,000... yeah, they reverse swept lag. They lost the
did.
first 2 maps and then won the next 3. I woke up and I saw everything happen. I'm like, oh my god.
You probably went to bed because you're going, LAG's going to win this, you know. I'll read the news tomorrow.
No, actually, I'm
Wakes
a
up in
Fisher
a
College
cold sweat.
believer,
Something
actually.
ain't right here.
I'm
felt
a
it.
Fisher College believer. Believe me with that. When they lost at Frag TAP 2024, I gave them fake little gold medals, and I said, "You're still my winners in my heart." I did that. And then we went out for St. Patrick's Day.
Oh, what a holiday. Can't believe that was 2.5 years ago. Time does fly. Nade over the top. A4 to cop one of these shots. That'll be one of the maybe few times we get Consti on the rifle. Oh my gosh, Cryptic just canceled out the plant at the very last moment. Bro literally held it from the basket. He slapped it away.
Someone land 1 bullet. Thank you, Cameron. Yeah, I was worried for Consti there for a little bit of a second. Bullets weren't shooting straight once they jumped on over from Cat. I was able to still land 1 and slow Boss down till the rest of the CTs could play bullet juggle. Which bullet's gonna kill this one last player?
It's a little crazy. Oh my gosh, how is that not hidden? How is that not hidden? Okay, somehow
The new animatronics that they added.
Oh my gosh.
Oh.
That's pretty quick from Ben Lee. That was some of the likeness I was seeing on LAN from Mr. Ben Smith. He was going and popping off, really doing well. How to teach these things or teach these kids a thing or two. Goodness gracious. It was really great to see from Ben. He always loves the LAN environment. Cryptic swinging up LAN. I don't know what is going on with Cryptic today, but he is killing everything. Cameron 1v2.
That was a really good support flash. Merkel would be able to sandwich here in mid. Who's going to be able to see him first? Turned the wrong way. Didn't completely clear. Nice tuck from him. Boss finally able to answer back. Didn't see too much from the op of Slight, but definitely shut down that from the side of lag. You were saying Ben Lee popping off on LAN. What was some highlights? Anything cool?
Yes, he
I was
had
working, so
yeah, he had a 1 versus 4. Yeah, he's going crazy in the server. He was going crazy on LAN. He's always a dude that's like yelling too. Honestly, he used more of that from Cameron during the weekend. Oh, what the helly?
Ooh,
it is B-Will's lining up a smoke, and it is Cryptic that will take the free kill. Thank you very much.
Now, Boss, gotta act without that last player and without the trade. Maybe you could just go set up another smoke. Try not get caught out. Wumbo, looking for a little bit of information. Nice flash in. Not going to be hit with anything on the other side. DJ holding strong and Cryptic there to help him out. Walking with the op to hold this.
Very nice.
And a nice flick there from Slight. Op now in contention. DJ a little bit nervous now. Back it up to the B site. We got 2-2 split here for the CTs.
Very exciting stuff. Get that look, and I'm hoping to get the same quality out of Consti, who was a little bit slow in the series last night. I mean, you got to go and beg for longevity when it's 5 whole maps, but, you know, for a guy that I'm calling, like, the GOAT on the op recently, I've been expecting more. Cameron, what's up with this? Down through middle. Should be clearing out Wumbo at least, but now he's just here for the rotate. 3 players inside of the B site and also pouring out of the tunnel. Sandman and Cameron, they'll trade. Now it's all down to Marky Mark, who does dispatch with 2, but is put down right after.
Pretty convincing here from Lag so far. Just quick thinking, but you know, Boss having their timings down to try and get into that B site. Timing's not completely down. You'd be able to
you know,
I don't know, more passion.
I need to maybe give Consti a little bit of slack. I want to, yes, Passion NA.
You know what? I'll just stop yapping. Go ahead.
Are they going to the major? Do we know? Do we know?
Let
Nick X have a clue so he can just like have a rest, you know? I bet it's very stressful.
Let me pull up the statistics, and I'll let you know where they're at right now.
It was quite interesting. While I was actually crazy traveling out of Syracuse, you can ask Cryptic about it. We were on the same flight that got canceled. We both had connections. I'm not going to say all the details, but, it wasn't great. It wasn't great. But we both got home, But I was talking to the Voca gamers who have been to, 5 lands in a month. And that traveling process is just insane. I'm trying to play with it as well. We might have just missed a constant collateral, but it's against the eco, so we'll let it slide as we're yapping over it. LAG are flawless, and that's what I mean. I know for LAG, this has got to hurt considering probably all the emotions they've been feeling in this week. I mean, this is not an easy job. I think people forget that all the time, that they're professional gamers, but I mean, really, we're in the VRS season. Things are so insane. They're happy to do this job, but I mean, just today, I learned that Voca, I got to know Infinite a little bit more, and I know that his travel situation's a little insane being vague about it, but he actually, couldn't leave, and they had to get a sub for that. Little controversial, but we don't have to get into all the politics. Wumbo and Mercu opening up the round big time.
Cryptic in a good spot, has to not get caught out here. He's going to have a lot of players looking at him. Does spray down for 1. Mercu already popping off. A little bit more in this round that we're expecting. Cameron trying to pick up the pieces from his fallen brethren. Does have a little bit of a nice sandwich here for the CTs if they don't get a little bit utiled out. You have a long lurk to think about. Sandman going into it. A nice crossfire. Just have to sit and wait for Cameron to activate. I don't know if they saw him or maybe heard, but he was very silent walking onto Cat in a crouch position. You may have been able to see him a little bit. They're jiggle peeking still, waiting for a look.
He should be hidden here, crouched, but if I'm afraid Wumbo gets on this first, it could be the worst thing in the world for him to go down, and then the 1 HP Mercu is left up to trade, but in this entire time, this is exactly what I'm worried about. Yep. Wumbo into the box, it's the 1 HP, and unfortunately the knife pulled. Slights lurk, it does pay off. Thought he was stopping up on the ramp there through my peripheral vision, but he takes that thoroughly through. It's boss that are still early on, I feel like winning these tight rounds, and that's the silver lining to the struggle so far.
Absolutely. So, Passion UA have a 12% chance of making the major as of 7 a.m. this morning.
Yeah, they're in fact having Fang sub at IEM Rio. Boss connection. For Senzu. On this last corner.
Very close.
Awkward.
Not enough damage to make that even worth it. A lot of those players very low. But boss, they're already leaving. Long. Stake their claim, got their kill. Fast rotate.
Completely rotate over. Yeah, they gotta kind of work this round back. LAG know exactly what's about to come back to them. This is a, Dust 2 that they're familiar with, the Benleet stand system, whatever it is, though. I think Benleet does call a much different game from, where you're usually used to Stan running his tempo. One more tunnels hit, and it's going to come the way of Sandman. Remember, earlier in the half, he was like a turret from this spot.
Find the first, not the second. Mercu able to activate, get that DJ very close and Cryptic from Tons. Does have to worry about a potential flank, but Slight is going to get taken out before it's even a thought. Mercu now left on an island, 1v3. Nowhere really is safe. He's going to try and fight this. Finds the first one. Consti down. DJ is going to shut it down even more for boss.
All right.
Okay.
You can get maybe be a little excited about that shot at the end, but, we're talking about those tight rounds. That one was LAG making sure it wasn't going to get to that point here later on. Sandman, cleaned out a car, but the trades go well, and this is what I was talking about. I think really consistently and going well, I think mostly the concerns that I was coming and hearing from, the LAG side, all from LAN, was that the communication just really wasn't up to par. I don't know, Apples. It's like really interesting to see them like come back home. And look, I know they just lost a best of 5, but they play really well when they're at home and online. Like, I don't know if it's just the stress of LAN, the communication, like it's all wonky. Like, it is what it is. You're, you know, gonna have to like get over that hurdle eventually, especially when yesterday you were 1 map away, hell, like 3 rounds away from going to a tier 1 event. I bet that's gonna sting.
Yeah.
Can we respect that?
Yeah.
They're never gonna get that close again at this point in the, you know, team's development, right? I feel like that missed opportunity just came because like M80's out. Like there are a lot of NA teams that are like in Europe, couldn't play in the NA qualifiers because of that. Fisher even got through the open qualifier. They weren't even invited through VRS, obviously. We know that to be an issue. You see them?
I think he got a little bit, probably, of a leg, maybe a shoulder, Wumbo. At least going to keep this dream alive for now. Yeah, potentially a bomb plant. Consti is not going to be able to see Slight just right around the corner. Wumbo has a nice angle here on Cryptic, too. Hold on. This will get a little bit freaky. Sandman is at least trying to help. Slight left alone. 1v3. The Deagle has to do a lot here. A lot of heavy lifting. Not many bullets left in the clip.
And this is sort of exactly what I'm talking about. I feel like, you know, where I'm looking at this series, the PGL Astana qualification series that, you know, just went down, like, I think 2 days ago in comparison to the best of 3 that, like, they played in the 3rd place decider on LAN. It's a little crazy. I mean, this is this LAG unit, like, playing at their best in a certain direction of, I mean, Cryptic is having himself a game. I don't know if I've ever seen him, like, go into a stride like this when he was playing with the likes of, like, you know, Walko, Laxi, and everybody that he played through on that roster, right? All the star riflers that he set up. This is Cryptic going and taking his own and showing you, I think, the silver lining for what he can provide. I mean, he's just sprinting up middle, and he's going to communicate back to everybody at his best what he's able to do. And just to clear up for all the fans watching, and I even had Cryptic ask me to clarify this on broadcast, back at LAN, he is not the IGL. It is DJ leading this unit.
Always need to start Rifler. Cryptic's going to be the one. Nice to see it on CT side start to activate. Go. Who does, as we say his name. He's able to find one. Trade through the smoke from Wumbo. Slight still has his angle. Was that visible? Do you think that they would have been able to see that CT? Or was that still an X-ray from us? But nevertheless, stock up longs trying to get onto the site here still.
Through Cameron. It's perfect.
Yeah, there
Cameron
we go.
with the great double kill.
Just textbook easy there. Have to pick up the bomb now that it's dropped. So low, a leg could do it, but he's gonna get them bigger.
Oh my gosh.
And now the lower health player there, Consti, nice op angle just held, and Lag have hit a stride on their CT side so far. Not much that Boss could really do about it, it seems.
Yeah, where it feels like they're hardly even able to, like, open up the playbook, right? Like, B-Wills is dying, throwing nades. You have Cryptic running up middle. They still don't have an answer for that. I'm looking at you, Mr. Keller. I don't know where this AWP's at. It's hardly affordable for a guy like Slight, but, you know, we got to be able to find these kills before they're just, like, bullied out of this dust too. I'm really pleased to report as well that, you know, our 2 players that we put into the limelight for not the right reasons as our players to watch tonight, you know, Cameron and Merkiu are playing very well right now, far past the point of serviceable. They're playing pretty impressively. Merkiu, I know that those stats are probably a little bit misleading for where Boss actually have 3 rounds right here. I think they can be, you know, perceived as a little less impactful, and that probably is the case, but I think the praise is yet to be there, and I got to follow up on my early point. Merkiu is playing pretty well.
Yeah, he was a big reason why they won those 3 rounds.
True.
Just need to figure out a way to shut it down. It's a good way to start it off, at least a trade there, Marky.
Come on, you gotta be expecting Cryptic here
Oh my
with everything
gosh,
that he's
just-
done so far.
Yeah.
Happy to see that
Gotta-
trade.
I wish
This
just
is just-
switch it up just a little bit.
I think another example of how they can hardly run their default. Don't tell me Cameron's gonna push this. Don't you dare. Cameron's just gonna
They're
stay
looking for
here.
it.
Because I think Sandman and Consti may be interested in investigating upper tunnels.
Ooh. He may catch a timing here too. That is just so juicy.
Mid to B?
Yeah. That's what it looks like. And they're all going to be behind them, it seems, actually. They're able to match this pace. Consti with the op, able to hold down. Ben's out of the running. At least know where one CT is. Oh, the retake is on. Wumbo has to do a lot of heavy lifting here, and so does Marky. It's just going to be a very awkward one for the CTs to enter in, though.
If it were Fang and Fruit Cup in this spot alive in the server right now, I know you would be on the edge of your seat at home. Give the respect to these two young guns as well. Wumbo takes his swing from these doors and gets two.
Okay.
Drops the anchor. Consti got a clutch.
1 versus 2. Finds, at least sees one head. Smoke down. The time is out. Just wants to see if he can get these kills. He finds just one. It's going to be an 8-4 half. Finally, Boss is able to back and get their fourth here. But Mark, this is not too great for Boss, especially on their map pick. However, they are going to be able to go to CT side in the next one. Maybe they did a little bit more work on that, potentially.
Yeah,
I'm that a little bit.
I'm thinking this has got to be a crazy adjustment made going into the second half. Got to start off with the pistol. The rest of this does too, coming to you right after this. Well, the question that I was asking of Boss was maybe one form of how are you going to see Wumbo and Mercu show up tonight. But the question I was not wanting to ask was about risk management. That was this Dust 2. That was them sort of taking a gamble into this veto, and right now it's not going well.
Need this pistol, though. They want to start that brawl back up, and that's not a great start. Dooley's picked up there from Cryptic, but B-Wills doesn't want to answer into this equation quite yet. CTs are going to be falling back, letting these Ts run on the map how they want. Looks like an A pop. Nice smoke. Oh, a nice mid to B smoke, but they're going up cat. Ooh, crispy.
Engineering this one to perfection.
Ooh.
Ben Leet's signature all over it, but excuse me, DJs leaving it on with that P250 as well. Boss just, I don't really even think they had a chance in this pistol round. Maybe that's what LAG are saying about this entire Dust 2. One that they negotiate well on usually, just maybe didn't expect it tonight. I mean, I think that you had to really, like, juggle the series again, just from, I mean, you're playing from, you know, a reference of many series coming through. Boss picking Overpass just the other day in the PGL Astana qualifier, and then, obviously, in the third, fourth match, you had Boss picking into Ancient, and, you know, where we're obviously sitting here going, Boss have to change their map pick. Yeah, they didn't win either of those, so it's leaving them thinking.
I have a controversial opinion.
What is your hot take?
It probably is not that hot of a take, but, you know, I feel like the ammo update made it a lot less equal on CTs.
Yeah, you gotta, like, spam a little bit
It's
more.
a lot more T-sided.
Unless you're, like, an A4 user. You know, you're loving this.
I mean more so pistols. Sorry.
Oh, yeah. Like, I actually...
Like, that is...
I remember having a conversation with, like, I think Vincent on the stream, and I was, like, going at it from the rifles perspective, whereas, like, I think the pistols and some of those were, like, the heaviest affected by the update, which is interesting.
Oh, absolutely. There's, like, 2 clips, I think? Am I incorrect for thinking that's 2 clips for the USB?
Yeah. So people gotta be wary.
So, 24 bullets versus 60. However, you don't really need that much if you're able to get a nice flash in there from Slight to help you out, clear out a couple of those Ts. Now you gotta run on over to the safe site. Smokes in the util gonna be flowing through. Cameron trying to jump on over. Mac 10 activating here pretty soon. He's at least gonna be able to keep a couple of these, but it's gonna be forcing a fight for Ben Leet, and he's gonna get caught. Hold on.
Stuffed in the corner.
4
versus 2? No way. You're just going to have one force after the other. Yeah. That's the way we're starting off our second half. Sandman will bend this. LAG can't break. Gotta have this scout come up. Slight! Oh my god! That's the second time in a 1 week span I have seen him hit a Kukli shot on top of the scout. 1 week at Fragadelphia, back on LAN ago, he was hitting clips just like that.
Surely we have the replay for that.
It's still warm.
Surely we have a replay, please. But that is insane. But that's also a huge confidence boost if you're just hitting shots like that sometimes on the server. Feeling good about it.
Unreal
Sometimes
stuff.
that's all you need to just change the tides for this game. Previously down 5 rounds. Making it a little bit of a tighter game here. Still have a little bit more to climb.
Yeah.
Now, yeah.
I really feel that way because I don't even think we've seen, like, close to the quality that Boss can provide, you know, in a series like this. I think even before, like, that, you know, LAN result between them and LAG, like, in the 3rd, 4th place decider, like, that's a result that, like, narratives get formed around, you know, for people like us, you know, going where in our mental rankings, like, where are the, like, you know, little tiebreakers that we're going to put to, like, you know, make one team go ahead of the other in our rankings, you know, mentally. And for me, that's like, I don't know if I can quite give that to Boss even with the win yet. Like, I still need to see more out of Mercu and Wumbo, obviously. Whereas, you know, this LAG roster, I've kind of questioned for different reasons. Like, even earlier, I'm still kind of speaking on, like, you know, where is, you know, the answer to the roles? What's happening here?
Yeah.
It is what it is, but... Oh my god! Constantly pulling up with his scout. Says, see what I can do. Maybe better than Slight just did. I would say that's a pretty damn bold claim. Opening up this smoke, and I think he's going to want to put an end to this. Seen Cryptic go right along, helping with the spams, but he got quite a serving of the Deagle coming through. There's Wumbo, 4K to crumble him.
You know, not every team can have Tommy Karn.
Yeah, can somebody clip that as the greatest caster quote of all time? Not every team can have Tommy Korn. Somebody put that on a t-shirt and sell it at IEM Atlanta in the ESL shop. I agree.
Sell it at Astana.
That's what I'm saying.
Find a t-shirt printer.
I'm gonna scalp those t-shirts because I just want all of them for me. I'm not even gonna resell them, you know?
You know, I found my Look at Me Ricky M80 shirt the other day.
Oh my gosh, what a relic!
I know. Hold on.
This is crazy.
DJ getting a lot of nice eco frags here. Picking up an M4. Do a little bit of damage here to the bus. Okay.
See, Wumbo, before when you were a pug star, you would have got, like, flamed for missing a molly like that. Will be a little bit nicer to you on stream, though. He's doing good so far, 14 and 13, and he's caught up to Mercu's performance. I'm just, like, keeping track. B-Wills is doing his job. B-Wills is just, like, you know, the old bad or unlucky joke. He's unfortunately been the guy that's getting spammed in the back by Cryptic when he's trying to light up a smoke in the first half, right? Like, it hasn't been going good for him, but... Dude, I was coming in here defending you, Ben lead, and you're 3 and 15. Still this close, though.
Yeah, I was expecting kind of big things after Fragadelphia. Whoa, Consti's just walling, actually. Never mind. Whoa. Whoa.
Honestly, that might explain it. Consti's been too good. Too cool for school recently. Bro has unironically been reaching career heights before, never unseen. And I feel like that's the narrative that can, you know, relate a lot to a guy like Slight, who I think, you know, the reporting would go exactly like that. You know, maybe a guy that's hit his ceiling, but it's just good enough for a roster like Boss, just good enough for a Tier 2 North American team. You know, Stan said, if I'm coming back to anybody, it's going to be Slight, right? Was helping him for the majority of that undefined project before... Of course, bringing in the Europeans on wildcard, so... And ready to go back out at upper again.
I miss the RMRs.
No. A couple of flashes go so deep for that. Cryptic almost fully blind. Pulls out his molly. DJ there to support him.
It's just like you were saying, it's the util and the timing have been weird, but right now, definitely working for lag. The CT's early call for a save. I mean, they have an op. Want to keep that in their hands.
Good choice, I think, but that's going to kind of make the half of my body cringe a little bit, you know? It's a tough result. Weird from Cryptic. That's a very, very nitpick pulling out the util. Then thankfully he was able to get saved by DJ to get that second kill on the door player. But it feels like he almost got jump scared when we saw his POV just kind of turning like, oh, okay, wait, he literally just died. Thank God DJ was there. But can I ask you about your opinion though? Because I saw an interesting tweet earlier by friend of the show, Buckethead. He said earlier, like, kind of, I love saying that, like, serving up what he thought was maybe a hot take. And he was saying that, like, you know, we've had, like, this dude, and even Mischief. Shout out to him. This community doesn't deserve you, my friend. Everybody's like, oh, I'm sitting here waiting for these simulations. Why don't you say thank you to Mischief and everything that he's doing for our, you know, communities by putting all of these simulations out here, where obviously, like, you know,
ask me my opinion.
There's so many tournaments going on. I apologize. Is Buckethead basically said this is as equal to or as exciting as the RMRs? Would you agree?
You know, that is actually a really good point. I think what we liked so much about the RMRs is that there was a very defined, this is exactly what is happening and what needs to happen for this team to get here, for this team to win. But VRS points are so variable in some ways that it is a lot of statistics. It's a lot of guessing. It's a lot of, if this person loses in this one tournament that's happening in Airport Masters over here, and maybe if this guy, maybe if FaZe are able to win something in Draculan, maybe they'll be able to get there. But
way to hit
like
home to the hearts of all fans watching this. You didn't have to bring
Shout out
FaZe into
Draculan,
this.
by the way. Shout out Draculan. Big fan.
Yeah, big things happening.
You know, I'll talk more about this once we're not in a full buy, but right now, boss, making it not seem like a full buy. We're completely
some kills finally.
Chowing down. Yeah.
Well, I don't know. I'm hoping that we can resume our discussion because I think Consti and Sandman should potentially consider saving this. I think Consti will. Sandman is just kind of looking for a kill or two around here.
You mentioned through the open door.
DE Airport Masters. That is a LAN that, like, I think it's just like one of those that you have to be there for. Like, you really, you have to see it to believe it. And the only reason I believed it is because there was a vlog. It legitimately was in like a massive airport conference room that you got past TSA or whatever the equivalent is in Europe. Excuse me. And
TSA.
Yes, so I am a child. Excuse me. And then they like walk into the LAN room. It was really that wild.
I really liked looking at videos and photos of that because I also really enjoyed, it was when they brought Train back. They had the LAN in a train station.
Gosh.
I don't remember what it was called. But I just remember it
Shout out those people.
Yep, thank you.
It might have been Circuit X2. I apologize if I'm misquoting that, but yeah, they had LAN in a subway station and then on an aircraft carrier. It was called, I believe, Aircraft Carrier Masters with their tag in front of it. Enough said about that.
Wumbo.
We're talking about LANs. We've got to make sure that the VRS that gets there is earned online through rookies like Wumbo getting double kills like that and big rounds that are decided here. Because Apples, in all of our yapping, this is probably LAG putting all of their money in this round. This is a big risk. So DJ turning a corner and getting a kill like that better be able to react. And I'm talking right quick, probably even 2 times for Slight on this site. And that's exactly what he finds. Consti is backed up into a corner. But this is weirdly clutchable.
Yeah, with that one kill that he's able to get, does have some semblance of information. Bomb not on his back, has to fight through this with only an op. Wumbo just on the other side. There's not much breathing room. There's a little bit of time. He does have a little bit of leeway. Slight's going to be the one holding it down over on this A site, and I think it's going to be another save. As dramatic as I'm trying to say this, it's another save. But, okay, back to my point about RMRs. I don't know. I like that they were in the game. We got to see Lucy and B-Dog on my game screen when I opened it up, when they were casting it. Like, I feel like it gave a lot more opportunities. Like, yes, you need to qualify for the RMRs. You need to get into that, but you don't really see it as much. Maybe next year it'll be a little bit more different, but I do like that we are starting to get the same feeling. Because, you know what?
Yeah.
That is a good point that you bring up that, yeah, this does feel like the RMRs, but it feels like a lot more of a scramble because you see teams that shouldn't be losing in online tournaments, in online tournaments like in Dust 2 Eagle Masters.
Yeah, I mean, a pillar of the NA scene, Dust 2 pushing a lot of tournaments as LAG goes into a eco. Like, the silver lining that I can give you about LANs where, yeah, we've lost something like in a system that honestly is like really efficient and really good to probably save all that money and still send teams to the major. America U is going to get legged in this round. Hopefully that doesn't become a problem. Is that, I don't know, it was kind of sweet, like, traveling to Frag York last week. Like, you could actually tell how whimsical I'm trying to be right now by the point this is. Like, it was kind of nice knowing that, like, hey, there are people going and doing the same thing in like 5 other countries, excuse me. Like, probably continents as well, going to these lands. Like, shout out to the cslands.com people. Like, don't know who made this, but it was developed by a European talent. Keeping track of all the lands going on. There's 7 LAN tournaments happening in the world at the moment. That just makes me all warm and fuzzy inside. You know, all these people are getting together to play a video game, you know, traveling from very far. I think that's sweet, and I think it develops the local scenes everywhere, but it probably is very costly and expensive.
You know, and speaking of, I feel like even though everything's getting a lot more expensive in the world. That's just how it is. I feel like I'm seeing a lot more lands and a lot more job postings and a lot more teams still being created. So even though all of those like outside situations and forces are happening, this scene is thriving, whether it's in NA or in E. Oh, really excited to see that. Honestly, trying to get an entry here with the op. Oh, we've seen 2 players not able to land anything here.
Hopefully they don't have any more HEs, because they are quite low. Here's the swing from Mr. Eddie Van Leet, who needs these kills for his resume to get intact. Cryptic with another deagle kill. That Molotov actually set on the other side is going to be really terrible. DJ can't get the bomb down. Well, now because he's dead. And now Consti spammed in the back, and I believe was taken away right before time. So he's okay. He still got the loss bonus, in case you were wondering. LAG, they lose this 10th, and at this point you should be potentially getting concerned at home. I mean, in the second half that we have seen, coming off of what was an 8-4 first half, correct me if I'm wrong, this is Boss doing big things.
Absolutely. Finally able to just for both teams here or not lag. Mud wanted to maybe get that 13. Full buy to see who's able to get it.
Nathan goes right down to at least that bed of where Cryptic was just tiptoeing into all the lower tunnels. He's got all 3 of his teammates here. Yeah, I can clearly see where, you know, this little idea of the default is being, I think, really... I think that was a T-Smoke that was just placed back on Catwalk. Excuse me. But fade away from it. That, in fact, was not a T-Smoke. That was fluffed. Boss do leave them away from Cat. Fresh Smoke, really good with their utility. Pretty systematic as Boss ready for likely another B play. They're not seeing anything through middle. That's why they're going to be bringing Wumbo back to action. Had to put these 2 rookies on the site together. And when the pressure gets high here at the rest of Dust 2, they're the players we rely on. Out through to check. DJ still with that first entry. Wumbo. Can he pick up a clip like Sandman did? A triple kill, and it tops his. Gonna go and dive for this last frag, and has Bentley to back him up. And to buy this lead, stolen back from LAG, worth every cent. Oh my god. That is it from Wumbo. Where there were so many moments this weekend that I was so excited. He had so many good stat lines, apples, that were consistent, pretty controlled, 1 or 2 kills around, not popping off the page. That is a welcome to the league moment for Wumbo. Look at how he connects these shots. I mean, it is just so crazy to see him get the triple kill like that. Gotta call and get Oreo on the mic. It feels like we've had a really a lack of initiative from these timeouts taken by LAG, but happy to wish an Oreo anyway.
Sometimes that's just what you need. Incredible things here from Wumbo. And you know what? Just like you said, it's a welcome into this online part. If you're able to take this map, take this lead away from LAG, going into Inferno, make that second map a little bit less scary.
It's really good. Every time Wumbo was doing well in that stage, I could tell, you know, each and every round he was becoming more comfortable. And you saw the smile on his face. He was a little bit quiet when I was talking to him, and you can tell that it's your first LAN. You're a little bit shy. It's a triple kill like that that'll bring you a lot of confidence. And I'm sure that Ben Leet, Slide, B-Wills, guys that have been doing this for a long time are happy to hype him up for that. And from wherever
Absolutely.
Stanislaw is watching.
He's asleep.
He was tweeting all about Fragadelphia, though. And now that I know he's eliminated from Series 20 of CCT Europe, I don't know what's next for bro. Live it up a little bit.
Real.
Stay up late. Wumbo? No, bad mistake, I'm afraid. Still managing to stay alive, but within this duo, oh my gosh, a lot of damage. And Mark is going to get 2.
More onto the server like we were wishing here. This shot. Okay, there we go.
Unbelievable
That's
stuff.
a map point here.
Are we for real right now?
That is map point.
Okay.
Wow.
Okay. Gotta get Ori on the mic again, because I'm still wondering, what the hell is wrong with this LAG team? I thought we were winning so bad, Cryptic was running it down. Literally. I mean, he was pushing middle at no, prerogative for any respect to Boss. That's how bad they were embarrassing them. It's taken Wumbo to put the team on his shoulders, and a lot of these rotator moments through mid. Honestly, something I'm wondering here is LAG have, really avoided just, classically running it up long. It feels like from, one of their first 2 defaults, they've sort of abandoned that, and I don't think they've really been able to develop too much concretely from mid to B. That's why you're seeing a lot of these, I think moment plays go back towards these upper hits, because the utility, I was commenting it there, I think in round 21, the amount of smokes that they were putting down late round there to shut out LAG from just even considering going back up catwalk or through mid doors was just really spectacular. So, Boss from an 8-4 comeback, and now they have an opening kill to try and close this game on their map pick.
Good start here. Wumbo trying to get activated. And they can just feel everyone here in mid. Wumbo able to find 2. Switch to the sidearm. Gotta fall back. Gotta reload. Oh, gotta enter into mid with the op once again. Not gonna be met with anything quite yet. Consti, this is not gonna be easy for you and Cameron. Gotta make this a perfect 2v5. A clutch and combined health of 126, and Miracu able to spot exactly where you're at. Oh, your teammates gone, Consti.
Deep nade.
Nice nade.
It ain't happening. 8-4 comeback. Boss cashed this in at the beginning of the series. It seems like our lower bracket best of 3 down here that is alluding to grand final stakes is not going to be too easy. That was LAG blown him out in the first half, and I feel like I'm literally flashback a week in the past, sitting back in my seat at Frag York. I saw this in front of my very eyes that, when LAG go down, I feel like they're unfortunately staying down in this, and they don't recover on this Dust 2.
Yeah, hard to find that rhythm back after such a dominant CT side. I mean, it was a little bit back and forth just in the beginning, very early rounds, round 6, all of that back at the beginning of Dust 2, but just not able to do anything on T side. When, there's kind of 3 things you could do on Dust 2. We're just going to have to see how they're able to answer back on Inferno next. Don't go anywhere. We have second map coming up in just a little bit.
Rolling on to this second map of Inferno that coincidentally enough is right here on your screen. It's probably the most concrete step that LAG can stand on here to come back in a series here. They have a disgusting win rate on this map, and I've only seen them lose this Inferno, I believe, just once in front of my very own eyes, and that was back at Frag York. But other than that, it is like something ridiculously untouchable within the North American space that I think LAG have just about as good of an Inferno when you're looking at it within the tier 2 space, one that is probably just as solid as Marsborn's, but like, I mean, this is where you have to pull up this map to like face off against an NRG or whatever it is. What I'm trying to say is that LAG, in my opinion, like this likely make this a 1-1 just based off the stats.
Think so? I know they did win it during the close qualifier against Boss a couple days ago, but I looking at my notes, looking at my stats, it looks like Boss took this map from LAG and Frag York. So, you know, coin flip. We love those. It's the odds, the gamble, the what's going to be happening here tonight. All that we know is that Lag needs to win this map. They want to make it to the third. If they want to stay in this league right now, in this cup number 3, to get that piece of the pie of that prize pool, it's going to be, you know, going back to home turf, going back to a map that you meet Boss at regularly. A lot of the time, a lot of tier 2 NA teams play this map. I feel like it's coming back in style. It went out of style, like right, I guess, closer to when CS2 dropped, but then all the changes that they added to it, widening some lanes, putting some more lanes in, having the windows to be able to get shot out so you can put util over in church. It's making it a little bit more interesting, so we'll just have to see how it fares here for these two guys tonight. But, you know, if you had to put your money onto something, or I guess your vibe onto something, Mark, who would you be taking here?
I got to put my vibes probably on Boss, just the way that they're running it back up in the second half of that Dust 2, right? I think the, you know, eye test, the vibes, I think is really putting it perfectly. That LAG, I can't imagine how that team speak is at the moment. I got to imagine that, you know, you lose an 8-4 like that. I can't imagine that you're not at each other's throats a little bit. You know, you're going to have to put that behind you, walk into your home turf and defend it rightfully so, which you didn't, like you said, in the third place decider. It was Boss that took that in overtime. Boss also a pretty efficient Inferno team in their own right, so this isn't as clear-cut as I make it. Gosh, I mean, if there's going to be any guarantee in my narrative that I push for LAG, it's LAG winning in Inferno, so they better prove me right now. Quickly up, and they're going to make it a problem in brackets. Get a Ben right below Arch, and Ben can't pull away much from this conversation, but maybe a little bit of damage to him. Oh, Ben, he's going to be caught tripping, slipping. Sandman putting 2 out of problems here. Looks
like they wanted to wrap just a little bit, but those B players rotating in so quickly, making it hard. Sandman finding a third here, and, you know, 6-7. It's the meme. Not that much health down from him is what I'm trying to say. The CTs have to move and do it quickly. Wumbo is going to get caught out trying to stock up and find the planter, but you know what? That's an easy peasy. Nice win here for Lag, and honestly, Sandman was a player to win it for them.
Yeah, bro just did it himself, taking all those fights. I mean, the first 2 he got, that was a bit of a situation. But then he's like bringing this kill up into the face of this long haul in apartments, going back to the site, making it work. LAG, I just want them to steamroll into this Inferno, right? I think the beginning of that Dust 2 was so, you know, crazy is because we kept trading these rounds. I mean, of course, Boss are going to come and force buy back into this. They also got to catch fire and keep it burning from that first map. Because it's that ancient, like I said, Boss picked up into that PGL Astana series. If I'm recalling correctly, it was one of the last 2 series that they played versus Lag, and it really didn't go well for them. So, you know, this is one that both of these teams have, you know, that ancient is like a very solid part of that Fisher College playbook that, like, they both were really worked on. Everybody getting to know Fisher, but Apples, you know, I watched some Collegiate Counter-Strike of my own, so, I mean, they barely let those teams get 2 rounds, so I knew they would bring it there, but the best that the European Collegiate team has done in some time in those frag lands, where they usually slip up.
This is an interesting stack that these that Lag has to walk in here.
Yeah.
Able to at least get one. Okay, you know what? Taken care of. Mac 10s are going to be doing a lot here. MP9 does answer back. Lots of damage done both ways. Consti has to chase after this. Wumbo holding down the fort. Not able to continue it on, but the bomb's gonna get planted. B-Wills wants to disrupt this. He is running at them. Wants to get this over with. Consti so low, is able to isolate the 1v1. 20 health. Just run the smoke. Can't go up to Graveyard. They just changed that. That nade almost did him in, but it didn't hop off of where the Ingle needed him to. Right around the smoke. B-Wills able to find it. That's an even scoreline.
Leaving Consti in that Graveyard. Didn't want to leave without walking with his 2 legs himself. Bro left in a casket. 1-1 with Boss, making it just as basic as the force buy. Balling out on him. LAG aren't going to get an easy start to this. My wish is not going to be rewarded. Wumbo, they'll held the site together, just like Mercu and him were doing for some time. I kind of expected them to be the B duo, just like, I don't know, going off of some of my, like, intuitive Counter-Strike roles, you know, from map to map, but they're a part of this A setup. They're the, you know, lane and pit duo over here. Or actually, I'm wrong. Wumbo's playing B, Mercu is playing pit. I would actually have expected that to be the opposite. Mercu kind of playing some of the small anchor spots. Wumbo, excuse me. Got them all over the place.
Okay, but to sum that all up, that goes into the question about Boss and their kind of rifler placements, especially on the CT side, making it a little bit questionable. Not sure exactly how these 2 new riflers are supposed to slot in exactly. And, you know, raising questions just like you did right now.
This pop play? Yep, the drive-by and probably a shattering little bit of a sentiment. Sandman just dinking a man. Gonna be taking him out now. Wumbo holding them at a distance. That's what you gotta do to these pistols is DJ swinging in. They gotta commit to this. They have an entire arsenal back here. Just picked up the 2 rifles and a fresh smoke that's gonna be really giving Slight a pretty terrible issue here. I'm pretty sure there's an understanding that the second smoke is about to fade, so they can take these steps out of CT. Cameron, now knowing that Ben Lead is going to be all up in his grill, got the help of Cameron and DJ here. We're just playing ball. It's LAG that have the serve return to them, and they just put it back over the net. Tennis reference.
Good job. Yeah. I need to start playing tennis again.
Or like ping pong, you know? Or watches Marty Supreme once.
Anyways.
Was still mad about Timmy not winning the Oscar. Whatever it is. I digress.
Yeah, minute detail from Boss, but just like you said, needed to get rid of the pistols done so quickly. Running into fights without backup properly spaced next to them for trades that made sense. It's not all in all a good retake from them there, especially on that B site, which is it's a hard one to retake, but you just got to be able to do it methodically. Once they pick up those rifles, kind of done for, especially if they're shooting as hard as they were on those Tech 9s. A little bit of a bait of information there. For 2 Mac 10s firing off, but it's util setup coming here for B, and they have 3 players actually just stacked over on A. They have not called anyone back over to B, expecting maybe a fake here. Boss would get jumped on if they're not able to clear these out, but Cryptic so good. Flashed down. I know there's another CT here. Rumbo just on the other end. It has to go back and fight into church for this, but the bomb's gonna get planted. Time's gonna start ticking, and this is already a safe call.
Yeah, Boss are just gonna, you know, understand with the risks, plural, taken at the beginning of the game and all of those force buys back, right? It's got to catch up to him at some point. And this is the safest version of that, right? Where you're just saving these, like, 4 forced up kits again just to run it back in the next round and just kind of, like, let that money steep a little bit longer in the bank accounts. Have it grow a bit, but that's in the world that we're all walking away with these. I would say it's like, I'm still happy pulling away 3 kits from this, but the way that Cryptic is walking in, the way I knew he was hungry for those frags back on Dust 2, he's got to get a couple here. And Slight, I'm pretty sure he's going to be pulling this one away. Yeah, I got Mark right next to him in case he needed a little bit more help.
They didn't want those Mac 10s anyways. They were going hunting with them to be able to refresh and get a lot more cash. But you know what? I'm going to be called a liar as soon as I see Cryptic buy another Mac 10 again. So
just letting him go.
You know, as soon as I make a point, please prove me wrong. That's all I want.
It's actually great though. It's like pseudo little IGL duties. I feel like Cryptic is just like DJ. Oh my god, I was about to sound so disrespectful. I was gonna call him DJ's little buddy, but like literally, they're just bros. They're like working this thing together. Ooh. Cryptic's gonna hate me rewatching this broadcast. Like I was saying, like I was telling him, and you know, I was going back up on stage. It was actually like, I can't remember which game it was before, but it was the first time I think I said hello to LAG before it landed. All these pistols around the corner. You know, if there was a Zeus there, I would have shut up and watched that happen. But flash over the top. Wumbo can't equip the AK. Another one of these pistols around the corner. It's going to be an easy cleanup. That, you know, he is not the IGL of this roster. He is not the IGL of this roster. Big emphasis upon that. But, like, let's be real. I mean, the mass amounts of communication here. You know, there are plenty of roster moves that are just, like, teed up entirely on the, like, consensus of comms. So I'm not going to let that fact go underrated for a guy like Cryptic, who is just, like, also balling with knowledge and, you know, got plenty of ideas flowing through the system. He's a really chill dude as well. Happy to see him get another thing, get another opportunity. As you know what I was saying earlier, right? Is the narrative was what was next for Cryptic.
He wants more kills.
Leave Slight alone.
He
Come
wants
on.
Make
him
rating.
Pay the price.
He wants
dude.
the rating.
Yeah, Sandman, we see you. You know, you gotta pad the stats a bit. Gonna get a 7th kill at the start of Inferno.
I get that cast up, man.
Mm-hmm. You know, that's why they put the little stat on HLTV thing to filter out ecos, is so moments like that don't ruin our perception of a player.
Was he technically on an eco if he had
Good question.
Saved over Scout?
I would say no, honestly.
And Kevlar.
You're right.
That's the thing. That feels like that's a low buy. So.
W stat, Ben. Easy farm for Sandman.
Good banana aggression there for Wumbo, though.
Round. Yeah, I'm saying this is what I want. Wumbo, like, going right into banana at the start.
Hit it. Change the W upside down for Wumbo.
It's an M now. It's American.
You had it set M for Mini. Wait, that would have been so good if it was on nuke. You still going over Wumbo. Okay, there we go. Another headshot from him, and they're not even going to take care of him.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, he's going to go through the smoke. He's going to find 2 more. DJ left alone.
No! Taken out by the nade. That was about to be Wumbo's clip. That's what I'm talking about from the young Chance out on the scene. Making him believe. Wumbo looking damn worthy at the beginning of this nuke. But it does not mean that DJ can't dispatch a clutch this bold. Ben Lee gonna let that plant go. Just because Wumbo shined in the round doesn't mean that DJ can't just silence it. One shot over the wall and that's the round. DJ at 31 health is just gonna be put down. Pedaled off the back of Wumbo's 4K. Was already called our MVP from map number 1. If he is gonna be reaching in with efforts like that here on Inferno, every official from the next looking more and more comfortable for the guy. That's the second big clip that he's had here in this best of 3, and we're only 6 rounds into map number 2. Give some respect to Wumbo right now for everybody questioning this dude. I'm part of that club, by the way. Part of that club.
You gotta set your respect to W for Wumbo. The bit's over. That is
hell yeah,
insane.
baby.
That is so good. They weren't even paying attention to that smoke. They were just trying to get that plant down, trying to get onto the B site, and this happens sometimes when you're stuck a little bit of a vibe. You've been winning rounds.
Yeah.
In the same ways.
Apples.
Hold on.
We're having
Almost
players
there.
raised up by Ocean, disrespecting and running through smokes at 19 years old. I'm just saying, there's a couple variables there that sound familiar, guys. Wumbo the Pug Star picked up by Stanislaw, looking at his demos. I'm overreacting. I'm calling him a Stewie 2K type of star right now.
Oh.
Hell yeah, Wumbo. That's what I want to see. Show me more. Looking down Banana. He actually just got that against the wall. I didn't even realize that registered, and he's hungry. If they're going to come in just swinging for him, I'm sure Wumbo is happy to just give it to him. A triple kill from Wumbo. This guy is wondrous tonight.
Op bought into this round. Constantly maybe going to be able to get one, but no, he jumps at the wrong time.
Yeah.
Here we go. Back to ping pong.
Oh my gosh. Back to Chance Boyer for a minute. The boy was map number 1 MVP, and he's pulling off plays like that. Gotta call a timeout. Gotta get Oreo in the mic here. Let's let this time just sink in for Wumbo. Pulling up to map number 2 like this. Ladies and gentlemen, for those not paying attention to the news, this is a young player that you need to pay attention to. Got the pat on the back from Ocean, a guy that brung up guys like Stewie 2K. Many big names in the scene. That goes back years, and it might be a little bit of a cliche at this point. But Stanislaw and Ben Lee didn't think so. Saw him within the demos, had to refresh with young talent like this. And I know there were a lot of doubts of whether or not Wumbo was going to be able to fill the ginormous shoes of Fang in Fruit Cup. He's not Fang in Fruit Cup. He's Wumbo. And that's what you're seeing right now. 12-6 start.
Early damage. Riptic trying to replicate what he was doing on Dust 2. Getting up that lane as aggressive as he can. Now down to 8. He's still able to join up with his team here. And be the one to use for bait. Just get a little bit of information. That smoke's going to stop him here, at least for now. Full clip emptied. You're not getting any bullets left. Had the timeout here for lag to just try and see what they're doing wrong, and looks like they want to take this over toward the B site. Cryptic, an inch of his health left, and thankfully able to get out of that molly so quickly. I'd be afraid of Wumbo. I'd be so afraid of Wumbo. I would not want to be here. I would not want to be trying to get onto this B site. They have staked their claim. It's only round 8. Lag still has a lead, but just by a fraction. Gotta make a play here at some point. 20 seconds left in the round. They gotta do something. They have 2 flashes on Constantine. They're gonna get thrown over now. Wumbo able to find the first. B-Wills is gonna help him out through the smoke. He's just gonna walk through with a nice flash from Ben Lee. Site players are down at the bomb. Slight has to help out here with the op, and the rest of the CTs rotating in here. It'll be a little bit tricky to hide these.
Gotta do it right now. It's becoming so consistent. It's going to be so hard to get these rounds. I mean, Wumbo getting his 2 is just becoming a phrase we're saying too much. Consti stares down the barrel of CT. Easy shot in the slight. Consti holding this round tight to his chest. An ace for Consti. Picking it up on the rifle. Not a one trick on that op. He's making it happen at every little altercation.
Worry just from the pause. Wumbo was only allowed to get 2 kills here. Consti just needed to activate head on a swivel. Knew exactly where the op was. The timing could not have been perfect for lag in that round.
I mean, that's been a part of why Consti has been, such a consistent player in North America for a while. I remember in the green room, I was, pitching you this narrative of B-Wills and Consti playing their minds out like they have, and Consti, been a rifler, been an opper between rosters, and showing you why. Wumbo taking out, getting aggressive. That was at the top wall right there. Wumbo, maybe served a piece of humble pie. You know, bro's like swinging through smokes and doing crazy stuff. Honestly, that's not too unreasonable, but a good reminder to keep a healthy amount of aggression here on this B site.
And taken out early here. Mumbo did look for some early aggression just to keep the T's out. Thankfully, finally going to be transferring some attention away from Banana here. Lag setting their sights over towards A. I think actually at the perfect time. They've already called a rotate. Ben Leet's on B. It's only Merrique. He has to hold down away from the 4 T's. But a nice peek there from B. Wills is going to, at least in the herd, maybe that'll call some rotates. We are going to get them, but, you know, this timing may have been gone. Lag may not have gotten this in time.
Merrique, he's completely flashed, and such good support put out here by LAG is going to make Boss question, I mean, whether or not this is, like, really retakeable. It's a cliche of Inferno that comes through in the worst times of these bomb sites being so hard to pull apart, but here it's what is exactly going through the decision-making process. As the first Moto smoke fades, it is Slight that totes up this HE just to give him a little bit of a view. Not going to see anybody, and because of this, he's done. That's his slip signed, and right here being handed to Benleet, saying bye-bye. From this A hit, it's LAG that don't just sit down to Boss. They picked up at the right time. Consti with a little bit of a miss, but it's LAG that, I mean, keep their entire hand around this A site to get a 6th. Slight and Mr. B Wills will, oh my gosh, keep their hands on their guns. Nope. Oh my god, no! B Wills did not need to take that fight. Probably was worried about Cryptic walking up back behind him anyway, so it's just ugly. It's awkward, and now Slight, the only member that has held on to the evidence of previous successes.
It's just unfortunate read there from Boss. The rotation's not there in time, leaving Merrique on the site alone. Now we have Wumbo pretty close up in mid here. Cryptic's gonna smell that out so quickly. Not even gonna be able to get a sniff of lag. But Slight's gonna be taking this so aggressively with the op. Cameron's just gonna take that down. Nothing given over. Another one bites the dust here for Boss. You know, that's also not a pick up. Let them walk into your crosshairs. That's what it looks like here for Lag. B Will's left alone. Not much you can do here, but maybe, you know, if you got some sharp shooting, you could maybe get 1 or a little bit of damage down to 21 health. You're getting chased, bud. It's over. At least for now.
Ever since the Wumbo circus kind of closed up shop and moved on, moved on maybe already to Ancient, because, I don't know, that's the next town, you know, alongside their tour.
I'd
LAG.
love some Ancient. I would love some Ancient.
That's what I mean. I think if the remap series served up like this would be, you know, the sentiment proper at this point. Boss, I mean, as long as they're not seeing any of these hits go B, they're going to have to change things up. I'm looking at you, Marky Mark. Down, unfortunately, with those spams. They've got to be able to get one of these kills. And Mr. Brendan Williams pops a nade down middle and takes out DJ.
So close. Cryptic already is here. Over to lane. At least have a little bit of information, but isn't going to go for this. Just having that presence here is so crucial for the T's to pivot wherever they please. Cameron's going to help them out over and out. Just getting a little bit of viewage over here on this A site. Not really even going aggressive and Banana yet. They're not really reading too much here. This is a good pause here from Lag, but time may run out. Smoke's going to get thrown down here for the CTs. The same time that the T's are trying to throw theirs out, but...
Balls pop. ready to go for it.
Yeah.
This is a hit at this point I feel like is just going to get destroyed. Slight, a double from Sight, and he must have seen Sandman walk out. Piers up for a third, and it'll have to be a fourth for Slight, who just has it on the spam. Slight's rifle is just as spectacular as Consti's. There is Boss finding their conscience on the A site through Slight's really good hold.
You know, I'm getting little bit of deja vu here, Marky. That's interesting. Just for you viewers, if you weren't here during the first map of Dust 2, Lag was up 8-4 at the half. Boss was able to get a full comeback once they switched over to their CT side. So that's all I'm going to say. That's just a little bit interesting here. Let's see how the teams are able to make it in a very aggressive fight here in brackets. Sandman's going to be the one to take the first bite of the blood.
Pushed out of A. The aggressive answer to, you know, trying to make a difference up here at brackets. Wumbo, the rotator. Gonna leave the experienced B-Wills. One Molotov that they are going to be so far past that he has no choice but to swing. And he is going to, unfortunately, be gone before Wumbo even gets here. One on the spams.
Gosh.
Wumbo, of course. Who could count him out? The Wumbo attacks before this bomb gets planted, and now we're dealing with this post-plant pulled apart. Bite the peach. Unfortunately, it's going to bite back. DJ is a spam back to Wumbo.
2v4. Mirq is going to be held here by DJ. He's able to take it for him. Slight left alone. Finds the first. Time is ticking. Molly's, he has to beat. He has to take this fight. He finds the second, not the third. Sandman able to clutch it out here for Lag, bringing it to an 8-4 half. And you know what? I was just kidding there for a little bit of a second. I was like, no, surely it wasn't going to happen. Maybe we're going to get a Wumbo comeback, another Wumbo 4K. But Lag, they are really pulling it through here, trying to keep this out of the hands of Boss here, Marky.
Yes, they absolutely are. I cannot believe my eyes from what Slight was seconds, pixels away from submitting there. Absolutely unholy stuff occur through his crosshair, but he's still the one that's down for a round. That's still the decision that has to be made. Are Boss going to put their all into this in the second half, attempting this comeback? Find out after this break. my co-commentator here says that we got some suspicions of a little bit of deja vu walking into the room, and I couldn't agree more. Boss off of an 8-4 first half walk into the hopes of a T side of this second map. This is that Inferno where, hey man, they had that offense to just back on Dust 2, and they managed to do it, Apple. So I'm not saying it's impossible, I'm saying it's unlikely.
I mean, this is looking a lot like Dust 2. We got one player on Boss going crazy after their first half, Wumbo, and it looks pretty even over on the side of Lag's kills on their KD and everything. So it looks so much like what happened. So I'm cool with being proven wrong. I would love to go to an Ancient. I haven't seen an Ancient game. I haven't casted an Ancient game in so long. So it just comes down to this pistol and who's going to be able to take it here. Restack over on B. Smoke down for the CTs. Smokes in response for the Ts. Not much visibility here, but we do have visibility of the dualies of DJ. And okay, it's done. I lied, actually. Lag's going to be getting this one.
Yeah, I feel like you needed that pistol pretty importantly in LAG, for as practiced as a Inferno team they are. I'm pretty sure that's one of these rounds that will stand clear and remind you the fact. It's an automatic pistol that falls into their lap. I feel like, have a very polished protocol there that you get to see just really flexed. In a 9th, 1 round away from double digits already, and Boss got to buy back up. This is going to be, you know, a half that reminds you a whole lot of beginning of the first half. You're just going to see these force buy wars kind of see to a pretty quick option. No Hall spot because of the immediate response. This is an option play, and they're just going to run it up lane. Could have passed it out Halls, but right now it's ending up in every negative scenario when you're pitching this circumstance. It's Wumbo. That is the only player left alive for Boss.
Finally, his ace moment here, maybe. Has head armor. He's able to find a couple of sneaky shots. Could potentially be here, but a really good crossfire on, you know, the one spot that he could want to come out of on Halls. Wants to wait here for a rotate. Wants to wait for a little bit of info, at least. Peeks out. DJ is looking straight at it. Nice dink onto Consti, but not going to get anything other than a little bit more damage on the tab scoreboard here.
Well, now you're going to get that real eco coming up the gut, and now it's very, very hard to get excited about the rest of this Inferno. And I feel like we're wasting this, really good performance out of Wumbo that he posted here at the beginning of that first half. Like, he was the reason why that, like, CT side was, all the fuss for Boss, where, I mean, this will be as non-negotiable as the veto will get, right, where we roll into an Inferno here. Even considering, like, the pretty recent results of, like, Boss doing a lot better than this back online and on LAN. Like, that went to an overtime win for Boss. I'm just saying that I expect LAG to win this. I just expect it to be close. That's the only difference. Awkward situation. Sandman is DC'd from the server. I think we're going to go. Just play ball, and the refs will not blow the whistle. Cryptic will be here with the DJ overwhelmed. I think there will be a discussion about this if Boss were to win the round, but I don't think LAG are going to replay that just because Sandman disconnected there before any damage happened. I believe LAG
I think it
could have
was
the option.
No, I'm pretty sure he didn't. I saw the damage done to Cryptic, or it was Cryptic or Constate. The nade damage from the T's were thrown up, and then he got disconnected. So I don't think that was ever anything in contention.
That's good.
Unfortunately for Boss. Fortunately, question mark for Lag, because that means that they're just going back into it here. Sure, that's what a little bit of discussion could have been. Just an eco, though. Not much taken away here from Boss. Now, this is really the round that could really change the tides if Boss is able to take these AKs and use them for good.
Wumbo flashed into the car. Pretty standard stuff. Boss back off of brackets because they even really see the utility. They don't really, excuse me. I mean, it's all held back by the one smoke. And I was really praising a lot of the utility usage back on Dust 2. A really good example of a round that is great for LAG at the moment. But this is a pretty unrepeatable aspect of it. Cameron will just decide to push and, find this kill in apartments. It's Merkiu that here on the lurk will, I think, wait for his life to be worthy late in the round here. Oh, this is such an awkward play by Boss.
Oh,
they're going
yeah.
and being so wary about jumping out of that smoke, but I mean, at least they're getting out 2v4 undamaged, but that was the round. That was the attempt of the round.
Yeah. Nading the smoke, running through it, had that hesitation, and now the smoke bloomed back up. CTs can obviously see you if you can't see them, even if there's a smoke. A chunky nade. Is it going to stop Merkiu for at least grabbing one there? DJ out of the count. These are trap. That could be so funny. Cameron, lone site defender here. Do you want to fight this quite yet? Oh, no. Oh, yeah, now that second molly confirms that.
No.
Very, very low. He's still going to be able to fight for it. He's still able to get that kill. Bentley left alone. It's your IGL. Is he going to be able to clutch this, Mark?
Has to post on to Sandman as the first step, and, well, can't even get that far. It's LAG that has to escort Bentley out of the server to go and get access to 12 rounds here. Consti and Sandman pull up with a pretty great second map in totality. This is LAG assuming all of our expectations of just destroying this Inferno.
Smooching.
Yeah.
Ooh. That's the vibes that they're getting on the server. And you know what? Before we went into this map, I think it was at the end of Dust 2, you were like, how is Lag talking about this? How are they feeling after they lose that sweep?
Right.
And you know what? I feel like the vibes are good. I think they were like, we'll be able to get them back on Inferno, then bring them into an Ancient and just see how that goes. So definitely have to be feeling good.
Cryptic shot out of a cannon. This thing is such a concern. Consti back with that nade. Cryptic was needing a little bit of a savior there. Gets him out of Banana alive. Sandman, he lost his life over at the back of Car, but unfortunately, you'll just need the numbers. See a sacrifice. The trade up at the top of Car. It's going to leave B alone, however. I think Boss are just going to be stepping here to DJ soon. Who could consider to rotate. Eyes on 2. Now taking up lane. Cryptic ready to say goodbye. Taken by Cameron as he drops the anchor. Cameron, our player to watch here tonight from LAG, has had a really serviceable game from Pit. It's LAG that absolutely destroy Boss on that second map. We're headed to a best-of-1 to end our series tonight in the lower bracket. We're going to be saying goodbye to one of these teams after an Ancient. When the stakes are high between Boss and LAG, they know exactly what to bring us, exactly what we asked for, and that is all 3 maps. That's this Ancient that we have been patiently waiting for up at the rear of our Vitos for some time, and through a dust that definitely needed it, and through a really interesting little bit of a map too, a bit of a blowout out there in record time, and a Consti MVP. That's exactly what we're going to be wanting to see continue forward throughout the entire series, and on the 3rd map specifically.
Yeah, we saw everything that we needed to saw. We wanted to see from Lag in that 2nd map of Inferno, and Consti was honestly toting a lot of that weight on his shoulders. Well, the entire team playing CT side so well. He was like also getting a lot of kills just through smokes, was able to read a lot of what Boss was trying to do. And you know what? Let's get it going. I gotta keep going. Gotta keep moving on into Ancient. I'm worried about Boss here, Mark. I feel like we saw it a little bit in Inferno. We saw a lot on Dust 2. We saw a little bit less of confidence, a lot less of, all right, this is what we're going to be doing. This is our game plan. We did not see much confidence from anyone except for Wumbo. It felt like it was just him really playing the entire game against Lag. It's a 1v9 on the server for him, it seemed like.
Yeah, and on top of, like, you know, Consti already coming into tonight, like, you know, on the conversation of being in career form, just yesterday, like, had that question versus Fisher College, but, you know, it's every day that we got to go in, and it's a, you know, crazy consistent line and pressure that we put in these players. He brings it here, but, I mean, the rest of Boss got to, you know, live up to a little bit of that pressure, and I'm talking about more than just, like, getting blown out on that 2nd map. I think if they were going to close this series, they had a better chance to do it on that Inferno than they have in totality compared to this Ancient. It's a really ugly Ancient that Boss have. Like, you know, where I was watching that Notorious series that they had within Fragadelphia, this is a Notorious team that is like Austin, Fruit Cup, and the boys. I got put on Messiah as actually... Shout out to Messiah upon Notorious, actually. A player to actually look out for, I feel like, coming off of that Notorious roster. I think Toasty and Saiyan also played really good, but I'm going, this is like a glorified advanced team that, like, you know, Boss are going up against and still, like, just barely winning against 13-11. Glorified advanced team playing with, of course, like, you know, Austin and Fruit Cup, 2 highly touted guys, but, I mean, Messiah, Saiyan, and Toasty haven't played, you know, past that level at all. So, you know, shout out to Messiah and Notorious, but, you know, if we're having trouble with Notorious on an Ancient, I'm afraid of which LAG are going to bring you. The Blades in this knife round got all Slight together in a 1v2. He is not going to be able to clutch this. You got the choice of side headed over to LAG, the team that I would favor heading into this Ancient, and I mean by a mile. It was 13-5 out in land that LAG fried Boss in this exact circumstance.
Yeah, 13-4 scoreline is going to be very rough to come back from, but you just got to get your head in the game here for Boss. You're able to take that first map, your map pick, and you floated this for a reason. You didn't ban it straight out, didn't want to get this out of contention. So, I mean, it's been, what, 4 days since LAN? Maybe they've done something, but it's honestly not likely. We'll just have to see if just LAN jitters was the reason that they weren't able to get this, but still they have that little bit of a not great win rate on this map comparative to lag. So A site is not getting taken, actually. I'm lying here.
This is as perfect as the pistol that showed up right at the beginning of Inferno. Slide here, 1 versus 5. Is going to be just clipping away with Cameron. Cryptic around that corner, low on health. They've even got a smoke in front of his eyes to just avert his vision. They even got a flank. They got everything.
They got DJ with the dualies right behind him, waiting. Oh wait, he had a cute little charm on his dualies.
Little burger guy down there. Flashing his
throwing
face.
Everything at him. I love this.
The kitchen sink.
Yes, you could say that this is bullying. However,
I would agree.
Lag wants to get this done. That first map was taken from them. They want to put Boss into the ground, make them an ancient memory.
There you go. I would agree. Lower bracket, somebody will be a memory just after these 24 rounds, or however many it will take us to get through this third map of Ancient. I mean, Cryptic and Consti, I mean, just showing up in, the position that they were pulling up with. Protocol, they're perfect. Setup there, a success. Pistol round cashed here for LAG, and we can be happy. There's no forced round here. It's going to be Boss just taking things in stride. They're going to be walking up to a third round here in a rifle. Cameron is going to get a triple here. Cryptic to kiss him goodbye. He's out of ammo. Give him the knife kill. Don't die to this. Don't die to this. If there's only one player in the server, I'm going to give slack to this because Cameron is the troll. If he went down to the Glock there, which he still might, it would be in swinging efforts, but I don't know. He's still too close now. Constantly going to be chasing him in, still flying through the air, and who cares what I think? All 5 alive for LAG.
A little bit of a yeesh. Like, yeesh. If you can't tell, I'm like pulling my shirt with my hand like a kind of moment. To be fair, just pistol and then a full save here, so Boss have the opportunity to take this back into their own hands. The rifles here, utility, maybe a default, maybe an execute. We'll see what lag is even gonna let them get done with. That is so much damage from those CT nades early on B ramp. They're walking with a limp here.
Flash over to the top. Rolled right around this corner from Cryptic, and I'm afraid he mouse jumped around the corner there. Wasn't able to really set his feet for that trade, but this is where Boss want to find him, and that's kind of off guard here. Taking those kills back, you still do have Consti waiting for Mercu to swing. He really doesn't leave a whole lot of distance for the reaction back there on the rifle, but Boss now understand that, LAG understand they're likely going to have to really get themselves ready for a retake, but as I can hardly spit out my words, unfortunately, I don't even think they're going to be able to kind of spit out any idea of pronouncing a retake right here. They got to stay away.
This was a little bit overzealous here from Lag in this round. They pushed so far. You can see, like, they got that elbow control. But Consti was all the way in elbow at some point. They went all the way into T-spawn, chasing them down, and Boss very well was able to correct that, get those kills, take A when they saw that lane, that chance to make it happen. You know what? They're actually going to also exit through CT with that same idea in mind, that Lag is just waiting and ready to take those AKs out of their hands if they can, because all of these players are so low. Forget how bad the bomb radius is on Ancient. This sucks. Maybe we'll have a callback moment for that later. Who knows?
This is a thing to keep track of.
Let me read the script.
Don't reveal it, though. I don't know. The way that this is written out, in my terms, a pretty good Ancient. And, I mean, the reason that Boss take that, force buy to the side, so far in their game plan today, that's been a constant. They wanted to keep it simple to get as many of these gun rounds up on Ancient as they could. I feel like this is one of the harder T-sides and one of the underrated difficult T-sides of CS2 at the moment. And, this is where Boss are going to immediately have to show up. They're the ones with the bumpy road coming into this Ancient. Just tried to pick it in to LAG the other day. So clearly there was an idea here that this might have been a weak spot. Walking down into ramp, coming out with just all and end all. I feel like LAG a little bit worse for wear. Cryptic is now going to get spammed out by B-Wills. He was left with 1 HP off of the aggression. But Consti inside of the site. Look at the security he provides.
Nice naded onto him, and he's able to find Slight and B-Wills. Easy cleanup for him. This is such an interesting Ancient to watch, and it's literally only been 4 rounds. And I have to say that because there hasn't been a pause really for either of these teams. they are reacting almost instantaneously to any activity, any energy. We saw a little bit of a pause from lag once they started to walk up onto that site, but that was just DJ waiting for that timing to be able to peek out for those 2 kills. But that early fight on B ramp was so aggressive, and they immediately flashed into Cave to try and grab some more control into that B site. They are not giving any second of a pause, of a thought, of any idea that lag could try and maybe find a different angle that they can be holding. They are going straight into it. And I don't know if that speaks to Boss's inability to play this map, inexperience on winning this map, or just not feeling too secure on T side and just think that they have to be completely aggressive. But let's see.
Oh my
that
god.
Flash, blinding Cryptic. He's still able to take care of Ben, and now Slight left alone did pull a lot of CT resources over to this B site, and that's going to let these 3 players walk up mid right now for Boss.
I see a play from that from Ben Lead, and it makes me just go, really, Ben Lead? That's the best we've got. The best we've got is Wumbo walking into house, and B-Will's taking contact up into Cheetah. Have your play. And now, this is what they were wanting. I guess a little bit of the contact to give them an easier lift into the B site, but Slight would have to airlift Boss's chances back into this round off of his back. He's got 2 kills, and here in the site, knowing that at least there's another player over the edge of Game Ender, it's Consi that's going to continue to push, but he clotheslines the player that he's looking to duel out this entire game on the rifles. He's still winning for LAG, but you know, where Boss are coming into that on their half-buy-in rifles, they're looking so desperate here. And that's just the worst thing to sour a T side early is, yeah, we're playing, we're in a pug for picks. Walking in the house, alone, trying to get kills, untradeable stuff.
That's exactly how it feels. That's actually a great point. It does feel like that I am watching some level 10 pugs. 2200 elo.
Perfect place for Wumbo to step up, right?
That is a great
right
point.
At home.
However, 3 players on Boss have not been able to find a single kill, and Wumbo is one of them.
That is a terrible thing to hear out loud. I will confirm.
That's my job.
Just passed through my ears right now, and I didn't like it, so not sure Boss will be so happy to understand. Just trying for a bomb plant here. Just trying out on this A site, but hey, a bit of distance met. Cameron is going to keep this AK cracking, and while that happens, he doesn't hear Wumbo walking up behind him. They recovered a smoke here, so they're going to be locking out Donut for the next 10 seconds. This could get weird.
This could get quite weird, especially with these Tech 9s in here. They have 1 flash left on the CTs. Kits on all of them except for DJ, so they do have the flavor of time. Trade comes through. The flash is doing wonders, at least for 1 kill. Has to separate these players,
so
but they're pretty well situated around this site. They just can't even finish these fights until it's time to get on that defuse, and I think that's it. That's 3 AKs. Oh no way!
Gosh.
You're kidding.
I mean, thank every lucky star that you have back in the cabinet, LAG. They're just against the Glocks. It gets so close, and I don't know. They're getting bailed out here in terms of that round 6. I don't know if I am like leaning on the side of the bailout there and saying that LAG got away with the fast one, or if I'm more disappointed that, you know, Boss couldn't pull away one of their like best opportunities yet on this Ancient T side. Honestly, I'd rather probably put my chips on that side of the line. I feel like that's the stronger narrative for this. We need B-Wills and Co. to really lock one of these out soon before it's too late. And in fact, it already might be showing the signs of it being too late.
I don't know. It's a little bit different from them. They have the AKs here. You know what? We are seeing them pause. Wait. Slowly take space. However, that does give lag so much time to read and so much time to double up here in Cave. Mirko not able to get one. He does get traded, but it's going to be the CTs taking it. Bomb dropped. B-Wills and Wumbo want to re-aggress this fight. Consti so good for the second. Wumbo's just getting out here. He's just trying to find some protective cover. Slight just waiting for him to activate. He's able to at least try and get something on the other side of the map. But while this is happening, Wumbo just can't do anything. 1v3, they don't know really where he is. Has to know he walked through mid with that kill.
I think that's the moments where, like, the inexperience right now of Wumbo and Mercu are showing through the worst. Like, I feel like where it's even, like, an unfair comparison to then go, yeah, well, Fang and Fruit Cup left to their own devices in spots like that would obviously, you know, probably make a lot more of that, but that's a duh moment that I'm saying right here. I'm Captain Obvious making a statement like that, and well, that's sad. You know, that was the next thing that, like, Boss could come in to reload this project and, like, put its lifeline on. For now, it's, you know, good. It was good enough on land. They're pulling together these performances that are okay enough, but, like, all you're getting from that is VRS, right? I mean, obviously, there's a little bit more that there's importance to that. They got to get invited to tournaments at Apples. They got to, you know, make it past the hurdle of the lower bracket, whatever circumstances are making them, like, forfeit in the uppers. Like, you don't have the, in my opinion, real resume right here for Boss to be able to do things like that. I understand scheduling and whatnot, but, you know, Boss have to understand how big of an opportunity North American Cup 3 is, especially with their, you know, nemesis of, you know, them and Fisher College, excuse me, them and LAG, Fisher College going to be signed up for Cup 4. Like, Cup 4 is going to be the most strongest cup that we've had since Cup number 1. And so this is a big opportunity for both Boss and LAG, who are the top ranked teams here. Is Boss on their T side right now? See a call that they can only make once and a half. They contact out A here and just see Cameron dedicated to Donut. This is a hard round to lose now.
You may say that. You may think that. We'll just see how this goes. Wumbo holding it down the fort here over in Temple. Not able to find the headshot. A nice one from Consi. Slight's just trying to do what he can do best. Consi just really so sharp at it. B-Will's flashed off this angle actually is so detrimental. It is just domino after domino effect. LAG able to find another one here. This is a bloodbath, Marky. This is so bad for Boss.
This is really bad. And I'm pointing out circumstances of Wumbo and Mercu, maybe not fragging. The best rifler they have right now is their Opper. You know, I'm kind of wondering.
You can't afford an op.
Exactly. I mean, like, this is crazy. I mean, B-Wills isn't having much to do either because, like, these things can barely get lifted off the runway. Right now, I'm, like, looking at you, Ben Lead, where I've got to, like, you know, say this is an off night for you, but, I mean, inconsistency of this position when you're this deep in an ECL playoff is a joke, and you can't have that. You know, right now, maybe we've got to call back Stanislaw for BU. I honestly think that would be the position he would prefer, but Cryptic sitting everybody the hell down. Yeah, this is where the next best IGL in North America went. No job opportunities out here, so he's going to fill one of the top anchor positions within the region and go insane. 14-3. Cryptic playing out of his mind tonight. This is flashbacks to Dust 2, where Cryptic started off red hot.
It's just so weird for me, or at least from Boss to me here on this map. We haven't even gotten a time out from them to think about what patterns they're walking into, because there's been patterns.
I'm really happy you said that.
They're walking into utility, they're walking into the wall spam. I mean, they're able to find a site a couple of times. They're able to get some plants, but other than that, they are just crumbling to retake after retake. Like,
absolutely.
Take a moment, take a breath. This is happening again. This happened the last time that they pushed this far out of a main.
Yes, Cameron.
They lost this round. So let's just see if they're even going to be privy to Cameron here. You're not looking. Oh my God, he sees everyone. Okay. Well, you know what? That's okay. You know what? That happens. That's okay.
It does.
You're up 8-1 right now.
Could have been worse. All good. Confirmed 5 walking back through middle. Boss trying to do A little something crazy. Walking out middle, we're back with the Tech 9s. Asking what DJ was talking about all of this aggressive ramp real estate. Sandman,
So squishy,
Consti, they're sliding right here. Apples and, yep, the standard Sandman triple. Hey, that bar is so high tonight, it might as well be the quad. We're going to walk his way. Sandman, though, just may have disappeared into the smoke or walked back the way of the game ender. This distance is going to give Merky the bomb plant bet. Your dreams clutching this round. Cryptic, and it just fly over the corner. A 15th kill. A 9th round secured. Who the hell knows what world we would be in right now if Boss just won the knife round and started CT.
Here's the thing.
Right?
You know what's interesting?
I would love to know.
Sometimes I be playing like Mercure. I don't get kills, but you know what? The bomb is planted.
That's so funny. Did not know you were gonna come after him like that. Oh no. I play like Mercure sometimes too. But boys,
we've seen him so good. He's been so good on other maps, on other lands, but it's not able to activate, at least on this T side. Maybe CT is going to be it, but how many rounds are they going to be able to get on CT is really the question.
How many are going to be left out there?
Okay, but once again, Bentley walking into the utility once again. How many rounds in a row has it been? It's been about 10.
I'd like to get a utility damage check on LAG if I can.
Honestly.
I've just been going crazy over here toward me. Really good flash to force Consti into this corner. Out with the 5-7 and defending himself. Merky, you're going to get this trade.
Okay.
And probably the most that they have had in terms of right to the B site this far into the first half. This is the best that they've looked in a late round. Cameron just going to be taking Merky's head off over the top. Bomb headed back towards A, where Cameron just backpedaled.
Perfect read from Cameron here. So well at playing mid. He's getting very aggressive, falling back into donut when needed. He's going to go back into house. The long walk through A main begins here. Cameron's going to feel it. Be able to spot them. Oh, but he wills. What a nice kill there. Just to get them this plant. It's all down to Sandman at 2K. You called him a triple king. See if we can finally find 2 here. Get them double digits here, Mark.
Slight in the corner. This is going to be his toughest challenge.
Oh.
Here popping out of the corner. Unfortunately, he wasn't even drawn up to the duel there. Trying to dictate a little bit of utility. Boss trying to dictate a 9-3 first half at best.
I was proven wrong.
What happened?
Mercue had an incredible amount of impact.
Yes. Welcome to the server, Mr. Marky Mark. You know, this really pains me to, like, you know, have that come off of my tongue and then report that my fellow Mark is 2-10 in the server. You know, he's really a chiller, too. Both Wumbo and Mercue, I got to meet them on LAN, and they're both such, like, kind people. Really good talents added to the scene. Obviously, that was second LAN for Mercue after going to Flom, so... It's the, you know, understanding that he's been so consistent online, though. Again, another insane HE that is just thrown at Boss. Add that one to the compilation of, like, 20 different examples of that.
Yeah, look at Ben. Already at 62 health. 30 seconds into the round.
At a certain point, you've got to know that they're just spamming those nades outside of B, so I'm not going to, like, give him too much sympathy.
Just accepting
Smoke back in the house.
Like playing this very, very guarded mid right now, giving them a lot of space, and Consti is going to be acting perfectly on that. The op switching on. First time we've actually seen the op in the CT rotation. They've been on rifles this entire time, but finally needing to bring out this big gun after Boss is able to find their second round out of 12. Let's see. Yes. Oh, wow.
Shadows inside a house can just be too terrible to you. DJ on the Ben, and you're walking out of a smoke. Mercury's still able to find this kill, but Sandman, next level. You know, maybe couldn't sign himself up for a clutch there, but to defend the site, I feel like that's well within his grasp. It's a 10-2 first half, just like that, Apples. I feel like that type of narrative just shouldn't be allowed.
No, it shouldn't, but that just happens when you have a really, really good CT side on Ancient. We've seen it time and time again in CS2. And Lag, you know what? They're not slowing down here. Boss was never able to find their footing. It was only a couple of rounds that they were able to slip by, find that bomb plant and get that. But you know what? We have another half. We have to see how they're able to maybe get this pistol and get this comeback happening. So we'll be right back after this quick break.
Hopes of this Ancient for Boss left at the door, shattered if you prefer that in your mind's image right here. I can't produce a more morbid one. This thing is insane, Apples, and I don't know if Boss are even going to be able to touch the idea of recovering this best of 3.
This is going to be an incredibly rough road for them, and it just kind of has to start, you know, with a pistol round. That's all they really need right now. Need to get this under their wing, under their armpit. Trying to think of under their suit jacket, because you know, bosses.
Yes, yes.
Need to get this done and dusted. At least one round just to propel them into it. I don't want to take this away from them too quickly, though.
Be as sharp as they want. We gotta shoot that way in the pistol. I'm afraid that shot ain't just hitting the lapel, it's hitting the head of Wumbo. He goes down to it. Merrick got to hold this B site together, but because of the bomb plan, because he's playing retake, more importantly, he's gonna let this thing go and just let Boss get back to him, but it's still B-Will's checking middle. It's a little bit delayed, but Slight and Co are just right around this corner. And now we're going to see if Merrick can corrupt the rest of the site. That's a really good start, but Consti playing around the pillar, and he has got one better. Turned into mincemeat, our Boss, the moment they consider the retake. Consti playing at an insane level. 20-3 is just a laughable scoreline as he embarrasses Boss in the lower bracket.
Youch.
if this is how it's going to be against Boss, then I would assume that LAG are going to be our far favorites to win the entire tournament. That was the expectation going in, and they're dealing with their, grand finals threat right here.
Gotta force into this here. Gotta see what you can do. No starting utility damage. Boss not having the money for it. Just trying to have retake utility, maybe some flashes to clear out some corners. But other than that, just trying to hide in some angles that they could potentially catch some of the lag players out and want to take this as slow as they can. But Cameron, that's a big one. You don't want to get outdone. 2 kills, and that's their entire mid. Marquio wants to get a little bit frisky. All right. I think I need to stop saying people's names because as soon as I do, they just fall. Wumbo has the potential to kind of change this, though, and he is able to find Cameron. He's able to find Cryptic, too. That's 2. That's an AK picked up. Sandman just on the other side of Donut. You gotta save this, honestly.
Yeah, I feel like you have no other choice. Unfortunately, it's, an impossible world behind that smoke. It's a matter of time on this Ancient, let's be real. Boss, they have the decision to do something about it before... I don't know if it's going to make a difference. Time's going to pass either way, Apples, and another 2 minutes, we could be out of this thing. I think I have enough evidence to, kind of pull together my prerogative from the beginning of pre-show, where, I think I set the difference of the struggles of Mercu and Wumbo to the individuals, but more to the institutions that house them. I mean, this Boss roster that, brought in 2 of the most point-blank obvious pickups that Boss could have went for. I mean, getting Fruit Cup, getting Fang, 2 guys that obviously have a stupid amount of firepower, and the fact that, whether you're, reading into the politics of, Fang maybe playing a little bit more around certain positions than Fruit Cup would have, dictated them differently. It is what it is. I think that there's just something wrong with the way that, Boss's T-side is setting up these riflers for success, no matter who is actually there back under center. I mean, this is clearly a fundamental problem. Maybe it's not a difference of Ben or Stan, but maybe it's a curse that Boss really can't break. You may need the expertise of Stan to figure this thing out.
You remember back in IM, kind of you'd say, Liege was able to get that 0-12 reversed against Vitality with just a Galil? Maybe that's what Wumbo needs to be turning on right now.
Wumbo's a Liege. Wumbo's a Liege.
Let's
Confirmed.
see. Wait, we don't know quite yet. Try to enter here through V doors. Okay, well, that wasn't Wumbo who died, so...
That's true.
Still in contention here.
He's here on the site with the AK. Making that
Perfect.
contact.
Doors clear.
They're too scared of him.
They're too afraid. So their AK picked up. Hold on. Starting to do something here. Cryptic's gonna shut down that dream of Wumbo activating in this potential last round right now. 2v4. B-Wills, you gotta do a little bit more than that. I mean, Consti helped you out with some team damage, team kill. All down to Slight here. 1v3. Sandman's not making him, letting him walk another inch. Lag with an incredible 13-2 victory on Ancient. It was all gas, no brakes, just from the start, Marky.
And the 2 top teams that we had here in the lower bracket, hell, in the entire Cup number 3 here for ESL Challenger League in North America, duke it out. And unfortunately, we got to send somebody home. It's Boss with glaring problems, with, maybe problems that go a little bit deeper than just the DNA. This is, a glaring issue for a team where it was up to them in Cup 3 to turn it right up. This was, one of the big names that we saw missing from Cup number 2, where, LAG obviously awkwardly had to forfeit in, weird land, altercations, but where we can even check on this lower bracket where LAG are going to continue to move through Surge, who actually pick up the forfeit win against Alpha 49, who I don't actually remember if I mentioned this or not. I apologize not doing so, because that was some of the news that came through in the North American ECL scene today, that Alpha 49 would not continue with Gabe, Honest, MBS, Flatter in Zoker, which is a little bit surprising for me. I actually really do believe in Zoker on that roster. He is a monster on the AWP. You check into the upper bracket here. In Control versus F5, I think that one should be really close. And Zomblers, who recently just picked up Poseidon, or not Poseidon, Hambuga and Fire again, which is really interesting. Take on Regain up there.
And also just dropped out of Frag Vegas as well.
Oh, I did see that. Yeah, I'm concerned for the future of that roster, and concerned for if it's even going to be in a live roster. I feel like I hear so much about how these teams are, or how these continued Zomblers rosters are kind of dissolving to the criticism of Cajun's calling, which is a little bit sad. I'm a fan of Cajun and a fan of Poseidon. I would like to see them succeed. But when I saw Polo and Grape left, I'm going, that's probably a really bad sign. Polo and Grape know what they're talking about, and I feel like if they were going to make any roster move work, it was going to be that one. And for the first time, for the third time in 8 days, Apples that, Boss and LAG play again. It's, we're finally cutting this down the middle. It's going to be LAG to take that 1-1 up to them. They've beat them officially in the overall best of 3 of the last 3 best of 3s they've played. If you are picking up what I'm putting down, I'm trying to sugarcoat this because it's damn sad to report for Boss that they're out of the tournament.
Yeah, good. I guess you're trying to say that it's a best of 3 of a best of 3.
Yeah,
you want it?
Yeah,
yeah. They were able to get
that.
It's
not every month or so that a team will play another squad in this type of national fashion 3 times in 8 days is a little crazy.
Yeah, well, I'd be interested to see where Alpha 49 goes from there, and just Zomblers just says like rosters in this kind of on I guess that level of Counter-Strike in North America. It's a little bit like, all right, how am I going to be getting support for LAN, support for these events? I mean, they aren't getting to those end goals that we've seen like Chicken Coop get, M80 get, that Lag's able to get, especially from this game, but they're still like in the Challenger League, so it's just that weird gray area. There's a lot of gray areas in North America, but you know what? There isn't a gray area for what I'm about to say, and it's that everyone should go to bed. We have another game, a full day of ESL Challenger League Season 51 Cup number 3 coming at you tomorrow, so don't go anywhere. I guess go anywhere. Go places. And we'll see you later. Have a great night, and thank you all for tuning in tonight.
Back on.
I hear AK is going to do it, but Sandman is locking it down, just like
Figuring out Wumbo at lead. We've been to like 5 lands in a month, and that traveling process is just insane. I'm trying to play with it as well. Controversial, but we don't have to get into all the politics.
Does have to worry about a potential. On my Look at Me Ricky M80 shirt the other day.
Oh my god! Recently, bro has unironically been reaching for sight on this site, and that's exactly what.
And they can just feel everyone.
Yeah.
They will at least get 1. Okay, you know what? To get this over with, Consti's so low.
Walking in the way I knew he was hungry there, I would have shut up. And they're gonna come in just swinging for him. I'm sure Wumbo is happy to just.
To this round, Consti maybe gonna be able to get 1. Get a sniff of Lag, but it's just gonna take that.
Be gone before Wumbo even gets here. Utility usage, back on Dusty.
Even if there's a smoke. Chunky.
Rotate, eyes on 2. Now taking up lane. Cryptic ready to say goodbye. Taken by Cameron as he drops the.
This map comparative to Lag, so A site is.
They're going to be walking up to the 3rd round here in a rifle. Cameron is going to get a triple here. Cryptic to kiss with 1 HP. Off of the aggression. The contact up into Cheetah.
Mama dropped. B-Wills and Wumbo want to re-aggress to cover. Light just waiting for him.
Some crazy. Walking out middle. Back.
So squishy,
Consting right here. Apples and dreams. Gotta shoot that way.
Wait, we don't know quite yet. Trying to enter here through B. Hey, picked up. Hold on. Round right now. 2v4. Team kill. All down to Slight here. 1v3. Stand